All right, so here we are. I'm so excited to have you here on the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
It's a topic I really haven't addressed specifically as much as, but certainly as much as you are doing. And it's so important, the challenging relationship norms of it all. And
Yeah.
so I'm just, I'm so giddy with excitement to be able to share this perspective with
Thank you.
you.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to share it.
Yes, yes. Well, let's start with you though first before we jump into the
Oh boy.
advocacy that you do. How did you get into this? What was the thing that led to the thing that led to the thing?
Oh God. Um, let's see. I've been creating content for, let's see, my youngest is going to be 8, so about 7.5 years. Um, and I started as like your quintessential influencer. Can you hold on a second? I'm
Oh
so
yeah,
sorry. My
I can always
husband's
hit
just
pause on
getting
anything.
up.
Yes. So we were talking about how you got into you were making content for quite a number of years.
Yes. So when I after my second son was born, I was actually working at an ad agency and I was working in influencer marketing. And I just kept seeing like all of these like picture perfect mommies and moms, and they made it look so easy. And after my second, I had been through like two hellacious pregnancies and postpartum twice. I had my first hypomanic episode that I didn't know that that's what it was because I was misdiagnosed for years. And I was like, you know what? I hate this. I hate what I'm seeing. I think women deserve the truth. I think women deserve more. And um, I didn't love it, but because I still felt like I had to follow that like mommy influencer vibe where I was like taking photos of myself and I was like, this is not, I don't want to, this isn't, it didn't feel genuine to me. And so in 2020, when I think the rest of the world got on TikTok as as one did,
I was gonna say, what a
um,
lovely year that was.
I
Yes.
know. So did I. And at first I did it just for like research purposes because I was still at an ad agency and our clients were like, do we need to be on here? And I was like, no, 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 no. Um, and then I got on and I was like, okay. And I kind of messed around and I did like never dancing. I don't dance, don't ask me to dance, but like I did like the trends and like the sounds and like the voiceovers. But then we like moved into our new house and a new neighborhood. And I remember it was my husband's night to cook. And at that time, like we did weeks. Like, so for one week, he would cook and then I would do bedtime and he would do the dishes. And I remember being outside and our new neighbors were like, where's your husband? And I was like, oh, he's cooking dinner. It's his week to cook. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, so last week was my week to cook, so I cooked. And then this week is his week to cook, so he cooks.
You were like
And they were
literally lining out like, oh, well, I do a week and they do a week. And they're like, no, what do you
no, what do
mean?
you mean though? And I was like, oh, okay. And then I realized that like when I talked about this, when I talked about how my husband and I shared like the domestic labor and the child care, people were like, what? That's insane. Like, how did you train him? And I was like, I didn't. I didn't. And so the more I talked about it, the more I learned, and the more I learned, the more I talked about it. And I've pretty much just never shut up since.
Mhm. It's literally, I love that. And I'm so happy that you have not shut up about it because it's everything. It is everything that this is why I literally have this show. Every topic that I come around to, somebody's like, oh, I didn't know that about menopause. Oh, I didn't know that about trying to conceive. Oh, I didn't know that about pregnancy loss. Oh, I
Yes.
didn't know that about anything because we don't talk about it. And if we don't talk about it, and especially that's why this is such an interesting thing. And even as a therapist, some of the things that you'll post, I'll be like, have I ever done that? Have I ever like sugar coated or like, oh, keep trying or like, and it's so helpful to have this point of view and this perspective for things to allow ourselves the space of like, yeah, maybe that's just not it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
maybe that's okay. And also, I have absolutely used your example in sessions of your spouse, like you came home and your spouse had laid out the Bath and Body Works candles that he went and picked, and he put out the Christmas decorations, some of which
Hmm.
he actually went and bought himself, and da 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 da. And again, it's the same thing of not like, oh, how did that happen? Oh, well, he just,
Yeah.
got into the attic and pulled him out. It was like, no, literally, how?
Yeah.
It's like, because I think people do, not in a jokey, ha ha, train your man kind of way, but like people literally believe that that's the answer is we're doing something wrong by not training them right. And
Yeah.
I've done it wrong. But oh,
Yes.
Abby's getting it. She's doing it.
Yeah. Like, what is your secret? What did you do? And I'm like, and I'm very upfront and honest because I think there's a lot of, um, as we're like coming into this era of like divine femininity and princess treatment and pulling so far back from those boss babes lean in era, um, I I'm very honest about like there's no secret sauce here. Like there's no secret formula that you can do that's going to say this is how you get a good man and this is how you know he's going to stay a good man.
Mhm.
It doesn't exist. And at the time I was like, and I said this before and I'll say it all the time. I've I met my husband when I was 22. We were married at 24. I was a child. Like, I had no idea what being married meant. I had no idea the true like commitment and like the gravity of it and like what it took to be in a committed marriage of like two people. And then we had kids. I had my first kid when I was 26. Like, I didn't know, but I've got 12 years under my belt now of marriage, like 14 in a relationship with my husband. And I can look back now and see some things that I'm like, okay, this was a really good sign that like I didn't know it then. But I know it now and I can like kind of see how it segued and like through our marriage and our relationship and through parenthood. Um, but I think women get told often that it's something that we're doing wrong or
Yes.
that there's something that we could do differently. And then that's just that secret formula. Like if you could just talk to him differently, if you could just approach it differently, if you could just try this differently, he's suddenly going to change. He's suddenly going to care. He's suddenly going to want to be participative and equitable. And that doesn't exist. And I won't ever for a second pretend like I have a secret that like I'm gatekeeping because I don't.
Hmm. Yeah. I something that I talk about with clients a lot of, clarity is kindness and asking for boundaries and like not in a weaponized incompetence kind of way, but like a learned helplessness. And so
Mhm.
there are certain things that you can do. I even have a girlfriend, and she's given me plenty of um, permission to share stories on this show. I'm definitely not her therapist, but she was talking about like when she first got married. She was like, "Oh, I totally played the housewife role. I wouldn't let him cook. I wouldn't let him clean. I wouldn't let him do anything." And it's like, well, yeah, so you can appreciate how a person can get to a space of like, no, of course I'm not going to cook.
Mhm.
That's your job, and you've articulated to me that that's your job, and how hard it is to then swing that back,
Mhm.
especially once kids come along and it's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
actually wiping poop over here, so I need you to
Mhm.
cook dinner or clean these dishes while I do bedtime or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And so it is a helpful space of viewing some of those things and asking questions and asking for change. But what I love is when what you're recognizing of we've done those things. We've exhausted those conversations.
Yeah.
We've expressed the need. We've
Mhm.
had the conversations, the roommate conversation, the this and this and that, and it's not changing.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
that's where Abby comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's been an interesting, kind of like ride in this content creation, for sure, and the things that I've learned along the way, but I can't sit here and tell women that like I won't sit here and tell women that there's like anything that they can do to change somebody else because that just doesn't exist and it shouldn't be on women to continue to do the emotional labor of like maintaining the relationship and being the only one working toward the betterment of it either.
That's another thing that I say too. If you're going to have some of these conversations, it does require more capital outlay on your
Mhm.
part. And there are sometimes they'll be like, I don't have any. And I'm like, great,
Mhm.
then we're not doing that right now.
Yeah.
That's great. That's fine. That's exactly what
Yeah.
you need to be doing is not doing that because you don't have it. And if you
Yeah.
get to a point where you do, then we can try to have these conversations. But there's a difference again of like asking for a boundary and a shift and a change from a person who, I mean, again, this is a grown ass human. So I roll my eyes at the same time, but also like maybe genuinely isn't aware. Or like I said with my girlfriend, like she made a big stink about being housewife of the year.
Hmm.
Now that's not working for us anymore, and we can ask for
Yeah.
shifts and changes. But that doesn't change a person internally. That's a person who was either ignorant or unaware or what, but is that's not you training a man.
Yeah. No. I like I think the thing that my mom taught me that has always stuck with me in like all aspects of my life is start out as you mean to go on.
Mm,
And
I love that.
I have never been we we like to joke I am the husband in most scenarios. I just never, like when my husband and I moved in together, I never started cooking. Like I never started doing his laundry. I never started reminding him of his parents' anniversaries or his mom's birthday or his sister's
Mm,
birthday. Like I never just willingly took that on. I never wanted to be a housewife.
yes.
I've been too driven to just to do that. And it was kind of like hammered into my head that I would go to school and I would be independent and I would get a degree and I would work. And I just it wasn't, and even like as a kid, like my mom, my parents will tell you, I was like, I'm still a very messy person. Like I was a messy kid. I'm a messy person. I'm a messy adult. Um, I don't, I just am not going to be the one to step up and say, oh, we'll do that, like
Mm,
without having a conversation about it first.
mhm.
And because it is so hard as women, we are told over and over and over again that our worth is chalked up to like one, what we look like, and two, what we can provide to a man. And a lot of times that's our domestic labor because we often ask men like, well, how are you going to go off to college and live without your mother? Or who's going to do your laundry? Or who's going to, who's going to take over all these, traditionally feminine tasks for you?
Mhm.
And if you don't do that from the get-go, like if you don't start taking that on from the get-go, you don't have anything to pass off down the road. Because like
Yes.
you said, it's so much harder once you've been in this pattern, once your husband, your spouse, who like has gotten used to how things have been run, and then you say, listen, I'm literally drowning. I'm burnt out. There's no way I can keep going on this way. And they're like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Laundry?
And
No.
that's when we get to this
Hmm.
division of like it's really difficult after it gets to that certain point to kind of change course and get your husband to want to step up alongside you.
Well, we talk about the people, like people benefit from you having poor boundaries. So if
Of
you're
course,
wiping
absolutely.
everyone's nose and then all of a sudden
Yep.
you decide to stop wiping everyone's nose, people are going
Yeah.
to be upset that you stopped wiping their nose and they're either going to
Yes.
just let their nose run
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
abuse you in some sort of way into
Mhm.
doing it again.
Yes.
And it's so interesting because again, I do very much believe people can change, otherwise why be a therapist?
Hmm.
And that if you've but again, it's a person who's like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was taking advantage of this situation."
Hmm. Hmm.
Or, wow, yes, I have been taking advantage of this situation.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard for me to make that change, but I hear that you need it
Mhm.
and I care about your sanity and our relationship
Yeah.
and I'm going to work on it. But
Yeah.
again, that's coming from within that person
Yes.
and you can't train that's not a thing.
No, no, you can't train somebody to want to be better for you and to see that the work that you're doing, both visible and invisible, as, valuable.
Mhm.
Um, I think especially that invisible labor that has historically and always fallen to women is not valued because it is unseen. And a lot of men don't place value on things unless they contribute financially in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of women's historical contributions have been invisible and therefore unpaid and therefore deemed unworthy and unvaluable.
Yes.
And it really puts a really terrible damper on things. Um, and just makes it incredibly difficult to do that. And I think like when I started doing when I was a fair play facilitator, I went through the training and it wasn't because I wanted to like be a facilitator necessarily, but I wanted to I wanted to just better understand so I had the better tools and knowledge to give to women asking the questions of what they could do. And I got through the training, and in the training I was like, okay, but what do we do? Like if their husband is like the roadblock,
Hmm. No,
who
I'm not
doesn't
doing
think
that.
who doesn't think that there's anything wrong, who doesn't think that he needs to step up because he feels like he's doing enough or more than enough, or he works and she stays home, like what do we do then?
Hmm.
And they were kind of like, I mean, she can try this or she can go on living the way things are and nothing will change. And I was like, that
Great. Cool.
doesn't
Tweak.
sit right with me at all. And
Yeah.
it was kind of after I like actually got my like certification that I was like, I can't promote this
This ain't it.
anymore because it's still not getting to the root issue, which is someone who doesn't believe that there's an unequal division of labor taking place. And at
Mhm.
that point, like you're still going to say, hey, women, hey, moms, keep pushing because the fair play system is an incredibly difficult thing to implement. That's why there's facilitators to help you because it's so
If it were easy, you'd already be doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, and yeah, you can't just, that's the first roadblock. If you don't have a spouse, a husband, a partner who believes that things are unequal, who believes and sees that what you do is valuable and sees that you're struggling, um, you're screwed. Nothing is going to matter and nothing you try to do is going to make any difference. And we
I
have
feel
to
like
address that first.
I feel like the fair play idea of like the visualization
Yes.
because it's invisible
Yeah.
that like they're I'm not trying to believe me. I asked you on the show for a reason, so I'm not here to defend people. And also I do want to just articulate like we are speaking right now of like a heterosexual man and woman relationship, but
Yeah.
this does also apply across the spectrum
Sure.
in all of
Yeah.
your beautiful relationships or less than beautiful relationships.
Mhm.
But the fact that it is invisible to be able to show that, and I have enjoyed the idea of like I've got some clients who like I just don't feel like I can get that through into I'm not a fair play facilitator, but just like to say, oh,
Mhm.
but when someone's got a birthday party, whose job is that to get the
Yeah.
present? Oh, when like you said earlier, who's always buying all the family gifts and so
Yeah.
on. And being able to delineate that it can be helpful again if people want to change, they can change. If you can
Yes.
bring to light
Yeah.
you can make visible the
Mhm.
unpaid tasks and the tickering, as
Yeah.
Abby Wambach and Glennon Doyle call it, then
Mhm.
there can be that change. But once we've gotten to that point and someone's still telling you to piss off,
Mhm.
that's where
Yeah.
smile and keep chugging along.
Grin and bear it. I mean,
Yeah,
really all
absolutely.
that
And
there
that's
is
the
left.
thing. I don't know how many times I've had this conversation, the invisible labor of it all, or well, I'm on maternity leave and I didn't make him get up because he has to go to work tomorrow. Bitch, what are you doing tomorrow?
Don't care. Couldn't be me.
Like, I'm
I
sorry,
was
are
like,
you not
hey, get
taking
your
care
ass
of
up. Soothe this baby back to sleep because I was up breastfeeding. Your turn, my guy. Go.
it's so wild, but that's the language and the articulation of unpaid. I'm like, you're not getting paid, but you're not working, and also you're on call 24 hours a day. Like, yeah. I was like, maybe if he's got to do like a 5 a.m. brain surgery, maybe you
Mhm.
take this shift. But like,
Sure.
generally speaking,
Yeah.
but that art and we participate in that language. Well, I'm
Mhm.
not going to
Oh, yeah.
wake him up because he has
Yep.
to work tomorrow. Again,
Yeah.
man, what are you doing tomorrow?
You're also, and that's the us not placing value on the things that we
There it is.
do. Us saying what I do is not valuable.
Mhm.
So I'm not working.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's less important than what he does.
Mhm.
And I was like, I wrote this down like, God forbid, like anybody see my notes app. Don't ever. Like I would pay a ransom before I show my notes app to a single soul.
Little chaotic over there, huh?
But I saw this thing and I was it Therapy for Women, but she said like rebranding women's dependency is aspirational, like along with this like trad wife.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I talked to Stephanie O'Connell and she, what does she call it? Like something about ambition. I forget exactly, but it's this trend where it's like women are just, and they're showing this women's dependency on men as aspirational while simultaneously devaluing everything that they do.
Mhm.
And solely being dependent on men while also like men being fully reliant on them.
Hmm.
Which, like, how can you be dependent on a man when he doesn't do anything? Like, what do you mean? Like,
But because,
so you
and
can't talk
look,
to the wait staff, but he, but he's not doing anything in your home? Like, what? Like, it
yeah.
literally doesn't make sense, guys.
Yeah, and I have to call myself out. I used to work on Wall Street, so like reformed capitalist, a
Yeah.
participant, of course.
Mhm.
But that's exactly it, is capitalism tells us that
Yes.
money, good, anything else, bad.
Bad.
And so that's it. I make money and I'm the good guy. And
Mhm.
anything else, it doesn't matter. And you need to kiss my feet.
Yes.
And if people, again, like you said, not to say that people can't change and we can have these
Yep.
conversations, and we're not here to say like don't try. That's literally why therapy exists.
Yep.
But if a person is digging their heels in to say that the only thing that matters is making money,
Mhm.
then that is what, and it is, you and I both sit in such a place of privilege. It wasn't for me, it wasn't where, if I'm going to college, it's where am I going to college? Like I knew
Yeah,
that
I didn't have a choice.
there was no conversation. And
No.
there's such a place of privilege for that. And of course, now, of course, my children are 4 and 6. And at this point, I'm like, when you do whatever you do after high school, like you do have to finish high school, but who knows about college? Because I still have $30,000 of student loans from grad school. And like, maybe I don't want to do that. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it is a place of privilege because some of the people who might be listening to this are like, cool, let me hop in my time machine and go back and
Right.
have my own job and money and not be dependent
Yeah.
on. So we're coming to you, team. We're coming to you
Yeah.
as well. But just for
Yeah.
the people who are having these conversations, who are in a space to have the privilege of making this choice is, and again, we're coming to that. But to say like, if you want to get married, if you want to make these choices, how are you being able to be reliant upon yourself
Hmm.
so that these situations don't have you feeling so trapped? Because
Yeah.
that's also what I really loved in one of you, a couple, well, many of them now, but like the one that I saw, I think was the first one that I had seen from you that was like, you all out there sitting on a place of privilege, like, just leave him.
Yeah. Nope.
Cool. How?
Yeah, the who was that? Do you remember Super Nanny? Like
Oh, yeah.
Joe,
Yeah.
whatever. So
Mhm.
I made a video, and I forget, but she was like, where I was basically like telling women like to just disassociate from the marriages if they couldn't leave. And
Mhm.
she was like, this is ridiculous. Women just need to leave. Like what you're saying is, is harmful. And I was like,
Oh my
Joe,
gosh, the super nanny came for you? Oh
oh
my gosh.
yeah. I was like, Joe, do not come for me, girl. I will not be nice to you. And I wasn't. And I was like, you're saying this from an immense place of privilege. And telling women to just get divorced is an incredibly privileged take because it is damn near impossible. We make it so easy to get married and almost impossible to get divorced because we want to keep women trapped. We want to keep women as the cogs that they are in the capitalism and the patriarchy, and they're in their rightful places once they're there. And once you hand over your financial freedom, you have lost all autonomy. It is gone. It is absolutely gone. And I hate that we are like going back to this time. Like, I get it. I'm exhausted from the rat race of working too.
Yes.
But like this pink pill pipeline is exploiting women's exhaustion by saying that the best way to get out of it is to leave the workforce.
Hmm.
And it's dangerous. And women not only are necessarily falling for it, but they're getting squeezed out. Like they don't have a choice. Like I was laid off in April. I didn't have a choice,
Hmm.
but I had been working towards like starting my own business already. So I was laying the groundwork to eventually leave. It just happened before I
The
was ready.
universe gave you a push.
Gave me the kick in the ass that I was like, all right, sister, here you go. You gotta do this, pull the trigger. But it's like it's so terrifying because it's such a perfect prime time for this messaging to take hold of women and young women of
Mhm.
like, here's your answer. You're exhausted. Don't take on the systems. Don't call out the systems. Just leave the workforce and let your husband do it.
I
And
love
I
that when you just said,
just
don't call
can't.
out the systems. Don't come for us. We
Nope.
have to make any changes. It's a you problem, as this has always been a you problem. Here's
Hmm.
another you problem. How dare you try to work?
Yeah.
It's such a
Yep.
wild place. And again, I should have said this earlier because I'm wondering if we might have lost some stay-at-home parents or housewives or whatever that is that you would, your name of your choice, stay-at-home moms. Of That's not a problem if it's work.
No.
If you are in a relationship and you are
Mhm.
so burned out from work, like my spouse all the time, he's like, one day when you get a book deal and you're making all the money, I can't wait to be a stay-at-home dad. Da, da, da.
Hmm.
So that's fine because we have
Yeah.
a relationship where he knows if he's the stay-at-home dad, he's picking up the tickering in a number of several many ways,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to drop the ball. I'm still the treasurer of the PTA and I'm
Yeah.
still da da da. Like that's because that's that conversation. So if you want to leave the workforce because you have a relationship and that makes sense and financially everything is good
Great.
and you feel secure in that knowledge, that is a choice, but that's not what you and I are talking about right now.
No. And also, if you do that, please get a post nut.
Oh,
Please get a post nut. I don't care. Like, I think my husband is God's greatest gift. I will never be financially reliant on him,
mhm.
ever,
I
ever.
love,
And
I
if I couldn't swing this gig that I'm doing now and I couldn't get back into the workforce because the job market's shit, I would be finding a way to get him a post nut because I just won't do it. Like, it's stupid. It's stupid. Like, I've seen too much. I'm too jaded at this point. I think it's
yeah.
dangerous.
No, I want to hold some space because I very much yes, very much yes. I'm going to go back in time a little bit to where I would have been like, Abby. But I'm right where you are right now. Of I was talking about with a client, which we haven't working at no more information, but talking about prenups and stuff. And I was really thinking about like I was just so I was like that's so unromantic and you don't believe in our marriage if
I
you
know.
already trying to
Aren't
have
we all?
this strategy. And so
Uh-huh.
anybody who's out there and you're like again I mean I think we're gonna have so many people who've already clicked off in so many places but I hope you're still listening because we're going places with this. Like I see you. I meet you right where you are. Like
Oh, for
why
sure.
go into a relationship if you're planning for the end of it? Yes, of
Yes.
course.
Yeah.
And look at the world that we live in. These are two separate things almost entirely. That Venn diagram overlap is very small. You
Yeah.
being in love and believing that you're going to be this person for the rest of your life and you needing a prenup are almost two separate things at this point. Because
Yeah.
look at the world we're in.
Well, and only in marriage do we say that, like, I mean, I talked to like one of Atlanta's top divorce lawyers. Like, I interviewed him for my own um like podcast, but I was like, hey, talk to me. Like, what is this? He was like, you have to think of it as two people, like as business
Business.
owners coming together, just like to join their businesses together. He was like,
Yes.
because at this point in time, people are waiting longer to get married. They have more assets that they're coming to the table with. And all it does is safeguard, like in the event that things don't work out,
Mhm.
you don't have to bankrupt your whole lives in order to get divorced.
Yes.
Because it's not the act of like getting divorced, it is the cost for the lawyers and like going back however long you've been together to try to figure out like, okay, who was putting in what assets and like what was accumulated and what's equal and whose was what. It's impossible. And that is what bankrupts people.
Yes.
That is what bankrupts people. Like it's, people say like you're only like one hospital stay away from like being bankrupt.
Yes.
You're one divorce away as well. Like
Absolutely. Well, don't
it
get me on
just
my soapbox
doesn't.
about healthcare in the United States, but yes.
We have to stop romantic, like yes, like marriage is romantic, it is an act of love, but it is also an act of business and you are safeguarding yourself. It is not, oh, I'm planning for our marriage to end,
Well,
but
it literally is a legal contract. You have
it is.
to be legally wed. You have to, I
Yes.
mean, this is common law marriage, but apart
Yeah.
from that, you have to go to the courthouse. You have to get a license. You have to sign documentation. There's
You have to change your
paperwork.
name if you do that. Look at all
If
the
you
hoops we
change
have
your
to jump
name,
through.
my goodness, like it's absolutely wild. So I want just to encourage everybody, like hang on to the beauty and the romance of your relationship
Mm-hmm.
and understand that entering into this is also a legal proceeding and it's okay to treat it as such
Yeah.
while hanging on to and cherishing the romance as well.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of it too, of if you're loving and cherishing and respecting each other and the work and the output and the energy, that we're not having these conversations as much
Mm-hmm.
because the love and respect and romance and whatever your definition of romance is, not necessarily like
Yeah.
intimacy, but
Mm-hmm.
because I think people conflate sex and romance and respect and
Yes.
appreciation as well very much.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really is that's a real struggle for a lot of people as well. Like
Yeah.
I said, that was literally me. I was like, oh, a prenup means you're just
Yeah.
planning for us to not be together forever. Nope, nope, nope. Megan
Yeah.
2013, you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. You're wrong, girl. And I was so young and I didn't again, I was a baby. I didn't know what I didn't know. And seeing what I've seen and knowing what I know now, I would demand one.
Yeah. Do you feel like this just came to me in just this literal moment? Do you feel like there is a little bit of knowing the fact that you originated your content based on the fact that your spouse was already there, but is there a little bit of external motivation for him knowing like you're posting about the stuff that he does? Maybe should we encourage everyone to start posting about the stuff on Insta? No, I don't want to do that. But that just came
Um,
to me of like maybe he's got a little external motivation these days of like if he stops doing some of those things, people are gonna
I
find out.
don't I don't know. He's not on social media. Like he's not
God bless.
he doesn't really watch my content.
Mhm.
He knows what I talk about, like
Sure,
obviously.
sure.
Um,
You're not hiding
but
anything from him.
no,
Yeah.
I'm not hiding anything from him.
It's all there for
But
him to find if he wants it. Yeah.
yeah, this is my channel. I'm the one talking about it. It's also why you don't see him on there very much because he's a private person and I'm not a private person.
Absolutely. And I definitely don't
But
encourage people to go make like hate websites against your spouse or anybody ever.
yeah,
To be
yeah,
like, I'm going to make a TikTok account because my husband doesn't appreciate my invisible labor. Like, don't let that be the reason behind doing something. But
yeah.
I was just curious about that. And so obviously we've talked a lot about the financial components of it, which are hefty and
Hmm.
significant, but also the emotional piece that has been something of if you're divorced and you have children it is harder for you to co-parent with somebody when there's animosity. I think it's just hard to
Hmm.
co-parent, and even in
For
in
sure.
happy marriages, it can be hard to co-parent. Validation, everybody.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between, okay, well, I'm going to go drop you off, my kids off at this person's house for the weekend, for a whole week, every other week, whatever that looks like, versus I see my children all the time. Just even the emotional component for yourself of having to give up whatever amount of time you have to give up with your children, which you might not be willing to do, and I respect that. And
Yep.
also, too, like, I don't know what's going on over his house. I'm not going
Exactly.
to get a divorce
Hmm.
and have him do God himself only knows what with my
Hmm.
children. So
Hmm.
those are other components too why people don't want to leave a marriage. And
Yep.
we don't place like just the carte blanche super nanny get a divorce. Again, also a woman who has spent how much time on TV. I don't know what her net worth is, but it's definitely
I'm
more
like, man, please.
more than
Go
mine,
go over there.
right? But even still, like
It is. It
finances
was
aside, the
when I've asked
emotional component.
my audience why they have not left, the number one answer has and always will be for the kids.
And
Rightfully
I
so.
think there was a while of the girl boss era where we were like, guard your peace. You
Hmm.
deserve better. Tell him to
Hmm.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Where we were, oh, for the kids, what about for you? And it's like, yeah, no, I do get that.
Yeah, of
And
course.
that's where we're going is how you are safeguarding yourself within this marriage that you're not leaving for the kids. And
Hmm.
that is the piece that I think has been lost for so long. So many stories, both on TV and movies and in real life of people like, oh, we stayed together for the kids and we got divorced when the last one left the house. I mean, I really, if you're, it's where we're going in the next piece of this conversation is you safeguarding yourself emotionally and taking care of yourself. That is not an evil thing
No.
because you do have children and you do want
Yes.
them to be physically, emotionally, sexually healthy and
Yeah.
safeguarded.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it is abusive, it is girl on girl crime to just say, don't stay together for the kids.
Hmm.
Well, that's my
Hmm.
passion is to make sure that I don't have to give up 50% of my time with my children
Hmm.
for the next
Yeah.
18 years. Like you like the terrible sad expression of like somebody actually said it last week too of like I'd heard you only get 18 summers, but someone last week said it out of context fully and they're like, well, you only get like 13 summers. And I was like, huh, that's actually even more right because camps and running down the street to
Yeah.
their friends and all of that different
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And so holding space for that is very important. And then we move into what a lot of your content is, which is how are you taking care of you
Yes.
and what I call it the quiet quitting
Yep.
of the marriage.
Yep.
Or perhaps some of it's not so quiet because you're articulating the boundary of like, don't touch me, or what that looks
Yeah.
like. So how has that content, that thought process, your education, how has that evolved?
I think when I realized that like I used to tell women to just leave. And
Hmm.
then I was like, oh shit, I was that, what a place of privilege for me to say that. Like, and I talked to like for my own work, I talked to multiple like divorce lawyers and I understood the system. And I think this is the other part of like why um women stay for the kids is because a lot of times like we are damned if we do and we're damned if we don't.
Preach
Like
on.
if we're damned if we stay because we're allowing him to mistreat us and we're setting that example for the kids, and then we're damned if we don't and we divorce him and then God, he's a terrible father and the kids are dirty and they're not excelling in school. Well, if they didn't come from a broken home, if you had just stuck it out and done your wifely duties and yada yada yada.
Mhm.
um and also like women are so wrapped up in that identity of motherhood that it's really, really hard. And especially if they've been a stay-at-home mom. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know if you like looked at the job market in the last 3 years, but it's been atrocious and it's getting worse and it's only going to get worse. And we already know about, the motherhood tax and just how difficult it is to go back even to in a job after your mat leave is over. You
Mhm.
take 3 years, 5 years out of the workforce and you want to go back in
Mhm.
making what you made. Don't know, doesn't exist anymore.
Well, and
Your
even if you
skills,
do happen to go back into the exact same salary range 5 years ago,
mhm.
check that inflation calculator, team.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And there's so it's really a hard you're stuck between a rock and a hard place as a mom when you're in that. And so I realized that like there's just I kept hearing from women and hearing from women and hearing from women and I was like, okay, you can't fix the marriage.
Mhm.
Got it. Can't leave the marriage. Got it. What do we do while we're in the marriage? How
Mhm.
do we sustain while we're there when we cannot leave? And I just didn't see that
Mhm.
anywhere. I didn't see that. I didn't see resources about that. If you can go to a domestic violence shelter, but so many women don't even think that what they're experiencing is any form of domestic violence or abuse of any kind. And like that's not always
I don't have a
available.
black eye, so I'm not
Yeah.
allowed to complain. We don't participate in the trauma Olympics, folks.
Well, not just that, but like I mean, in my community, there's like three or four. And then you got to take your kids out of school. And what do you do with your kids? And like it feels so impossible. And there's nothing, I just felt like there was no resources out there um, for
No.
those women. And then I talked to divorce lawyers and I understood that like, this isn't, there's no, there's no women are primary custody anymore. Like judges go and they advocate for 50-50. And it's almost like the more you even try to show how terrible of a parent and like dumb and incompetent your husband is and how, your kids are when they're with him, the worse it actually is for you. Because then you're like combative, then you're trying to paint him in a poor light, and then you're just,
How dare a
using it
woman come for a man, right?
for personal gain and it's looked
Mhm.
down upon. And so it just was really like shit. Like this is not it doesn't end well for women in divorce. Unfortunately, especially in like custody agreements. So I was like, I have to find a way for women to quiet quit their marriages. Like that's what it has to be. Like because there's no other way. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell them to keep trying and have another conversation and just drink a glass of wine and bite a towel. Like I'm not going to do that. No, I don't think I don't believe that. So I talked to therapists and I did my own research and I talked to divorce lawyers and I talked to women who are in the situation, who got out of the situation, and I made a resource for women when you are stuck and what to do and um things that you can implement to try to, you know, emotionally detach
Mhm.
while still being married.
Yeah. It's such an interesting thing. As a therapist, I'm always saying, like, I'd love for you to do it for yourself first, but I understand that that's not something that comes naturally to you. So what if we think about being able to do it for the kids? And
Hmm.
some of that conversation is around going into your room and reading for 30 minutes.
Yep.
Like, what are your children seeing when mama goes and takes a little bit of a break?
Hmm.
and you've scheduled it into your day so you're not participating in the self-talk of, oh, I'm a horrible person, I should be doing whatever. Nope, we're not going to shit on ourselves because I put this in
Mm-hmm.
my schedule and we know what's
Yep.
going on and the kids are well tended and everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I do again hold space for the idea of what our kids learn from us, not only what we say but what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, those of us who are in this age bracket, I'm older than you, but right, like in this season of our lives, is that we can't
Mm-hmm.
go back in time and change certain things. And there will
Yeah.
be a conversation with our children. Like my kids will not grow up in Meg of 2013 when I got engaged, which was a prenup is so unromantic and you're just planning for our divorce.
Yeah.
My children will grow up with the information of that. Now, whatever they
Yes.
choose to do with their own choices is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely up to them, as much as I know a lot of parents chuckle out here, like, wouldn't it be nice if we could just pull the strings just a little bit
A
more?
little bit.
But
Yeah.
that's the difference is that, and I do encourage everyone, I'm obviously biased, but getting yourself a therapist and talking your way through this. It's not just going and watching some TikToks and having the idea, but most
No.
importantly saying, like, I know certain things are going to be happening that I don't want my children to feel are
Mm-hmm.
okay
Mm-hmm.
or should be taking advantage, should be repeated,
Mm-hmm.
and how to have those conversations in an age appropriate manner.
Yep.
And certainly continuing to let them know because all of this is very intentional.
Yeah.
When you get to the situation of what you and I are talking about right now, it is not just like, I'm going to stop washing the dishes and see what happens. It's not that.
No.
It's
No.
definitely what sort of communication or lack of communication, but internal thought process. How are
Mm-hmm.
we having the conversation with the children? In what sort
Mm-hmm.
of ways? Again, that are age appropriate. We're not being manipulative. We're not telling
No.
them behind their dad's back what a piece of shit he is. It's not
Nope.
that.
No, we're not doing
You're gonna
that.
hate yourself more as much as man. Sometimes you want to be like, I tell you how
Oh,
much of a jerk he is. I got
yeah.
you to see you.
Don't do that to your kids. Please don't
Right.
parentify your children.
Right. So
Don't make them your
that's
therapist.
yes, yes. And that's that piece of yes, our children will see certain things, but
Mm-hmm.
again, where it is then on us to give them the privilege of hearing that they can go to college. If
Yep.
you have girls, that
Mm-hmm.
they don't have to have babies,
Yep.
that that's not where their self-worth lies,
Yep.
that having a natural vaginal birth with no medication is the only way to be a real woman. Like, fuck you.
Breastfeeding is best. Go to
Yes,
hell.
yes. Hi, bye.
Have you ever tried to breastfeed? Shut the
Oh,
fuck up.
I love when men have opinions about breastfeeding. I fucking love it. It makes me sound
Oh, yeah. I told my kids the other day, I don't even remember what we were talking about. Oh, my voice had told me that they had decided that when they were older, they were going to get a house together and me and dad could come and stay with them.
sweet.
And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I like this. So like, what do you see me and dad doing there? And they were like, well, if we have families, you guys can help take care of our kids. And I was like, yeah, for sure. I was like, you don't have to have family. Like maybe you get older and you don't want to get married or you don't want to have kids and you want to travel the world. Like do that. Like I'm not going to push that, like even on my boys, to think that they need another person, let alone like a woman to be their sense of happiness and their purpose and drawing from that. I want them to be their own people and make their own choices and have the knowledge and the know-how and be able to go out in the world and live their lives how they want.
It was so I was waiting on the back of the breastfeeding conversation when you talked about the house, and then they mentioned you helping them take care. I was ready to explode in laughter if he was like, and you could breastfeed the kids for us. I was like, is that where we're going with this conversation? That is hilarious and adorable and whatever. But yeah, I mean, my kids now are 4 and 6, but definitely as long as I can remember, anytime they've ever asked anything about marriage, having kids, if they've talked about when I get married, oh, you don't have to get married.
Hmm.
You can do
Hmm.
it. You don't have to get married. Daddy and I did,
Whatever
but
you
you don't
want.
have to get married. Or
Hmm.
when I have kids, we don't have to have kids. Like just casual. It's not like don't have kids because then you don't want to be
Yeah.
growing up being like, oh, I'm a burden on you.
Yeah,
Swing the
exactly.
pendulum too far, but to give the options, like I don't remember my mom and dad specifically telling me like you must get married and you must have children. But
Hmm.
certainly in the church, that was like
Oh.
sure. And we could go on a whole other topic about the church,
Hmm.
but I did that was the thing. Like my
It
parents
was a
got
natural
married.
progression.
Yeah, my parents got married while they were in college, and then they both left college, and they both went back and they both got their degrees. And my mom has a
Mhm.
master's, and plus 30 didn't go her. Um, and so we were always told, like, you
Mhm.
will finish college before you get married. So even
Mhm.
there, like the implicit nature of you'll get married, but you'll finish
Mhm.
college first. And I'm not blaming my parents at all. Hi guys, I'm not mad at you. But like that just is a thing, and that's going to be a
Yeah.
different language that we'll all be able to have the privilege of our children hearing as well.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
if you get married, cool.
Cool.
If you don't get
Yep.
married, super fun. I mean, I've been quoting RuPaul so much in the last couple of weeks to some clients, like if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen up here?
Yeah.
And if you feel like marriage is the thing that makes your life complete
Mhm.
and children make your life complete, that's because you are not by yourself initially enough. That way lies problems.
Mhm.
I hold all of the space if you're like, all my life I've always wanted to have kids, that's
Mhm.
great, but that's not as a way to complete yourself. It's
Yeah.
just that you also really want to have kids
Yeah.
after
Mhm.
feeling, after doing the work and taking care of you and having your explorations and your education as you want and being,
Mhm.
but that's not what makes you whole.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So what okay, actually, before I let you go, if you don't mind, I did want to have a
Of course.
conversation. Like, how do you handle? I read some of the comments these motherfuckers are putting on your. Do you read your comments? I guess that's probably the question to ask. Because, like, I watch
Depends on
you
the
respond to some
channel.
of them, so I know you see some of them.
Some of them, sometimes it's just it's too much. Like I simply can't keep up. I'm one person. I don't have anybody that works for me reading my comments, doing community management. I will say I did hire one person on Facebook to simply block. Just block. Don't ask questions. Don't care. Don't need you to ask me like, is this it? Nope, just block it.
Nope.
Don't
If you
care.
think if you think you need to ask if you need to block this person,
Block the person. That's the only criteria.
click.
Because
Yes.
it's just gotten out of hand. But I sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. It's much easier to like get through the comments on Instagram and TikTok than it is on Facebook. Facebook is just like a hot dumpster fire cesspool of angry men who hate me,
Mhm.
which is fine. But and I don't most of the time it's just the same thing I've already heard. It's like somebody gave them the same playbook to say all the red pill bullshit that they spew. It's literally identical. So I don't I'm not going to give my energy to
Love that.
that level of stupidity. Um,
Yes.
so sometimes, but it's usually in like the direct messages where I get like the really angry, hateful. Like I had a guy, I had a guy DM me yesterday and he said, go kill yourself, bitch.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Great.
cute. Hey, Kyle. And I clicked his name
Mhm.
and he had his whole profile public, including where he worked and his wife. So I made sure to send them both the screenshots of what he said to me. And he blocked me first. And so then later on, I went and looked. And then suddenly he didn't have where he worked anymore on his Facebook page.
Ah,
So
interesting how that works.
yeah.
It's
So the
wild. People
DMs are
feel
bad.
very keyboard warrior
Mm-hmm.
entitled. And that again, like, can you imagine telling somebody to go kill themselves? Full stop.
Never met.
Like not you, Abby, can
Yeah.
you?
Yep.
Y'all, can the greater y'all, like if
I,
you are watching something and your first thought is, don't let me reflect on how I might be able to interpret this in a way that might make me a better person or change my vantage point on how people are feeling abused or mistreated.
yeah.
Let me
No.
tell her to fuck off and kill herself.
Yeah.
And that's what you see so much of in your comments. I don't spend a ton of
Yes.
time in your comments, but I mean, obviously,
Don't.
this is preparation for
Don't do
our
it.
discussion. It is so much of that. It's like if we all could be curious, not judgmental, of like,
Mhm.
I wonder what she means by that. Wait,
Mhm.
when you said this, what did you mean?
Mhm.
And it's not, it's
Yes.
literally like, listen to your bullshit and da 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 da. And it's like, yes,
Yeah.
you're the kind of person who's benefiting from somebody not having boundaries with you.
Yeah, it's terrible because like my oldest is 10 now and he is like he's always naturally wanted to be like a YouTuber. And I'm like, no, absolutely not, not in this house. And but he's also understanding like and I'm not here to like toot my own horn, but like the following that I have. And his friends were over the other day and he was downstairs and I don't know what they were all talking. They love to like one up each other. This is what 10-year-olds do at this point. But they're like, my mom's blah, blah, and my son's like, my mom's a famous influencer. But then like a couple weeks ago, I actually had somebody who was doxing me in my comments on my Facebook. And we have Delete Me, which is a great app. Um I'm not paid to say this at all, but I think everybody should use some form of that service to wipe yourself from the internet as much as you can. But it was actually my husband who's much more searchable. And so I had his, like, I was searching all that night to try to pull stuff down and submit it to be taken down. And my kids also like to draw on my laptop. And so in my Google search history was like my husband's first and last name, our city address. And my son saw that and he was like, why are you searching for this? And I was like, well, because you can find that information and I try to take it down because I don't want anybody knowing. And he was like, because you're famous and somebody could hurt us. And I was like, well, this came earlier than I thought it was going
I was gonna
to.
say that is definitely a consideration for so many people, and I think about
Mm-mm.
that when I see because I never put my children's face on my
Mm-mm.
business pages,
Nope.
and I don't post it all personally anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
but I'm in a space where like I do enjoy having the like I have it, but I probably could, but if I'm just going and deleting it all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a tough thing for people who are in public facing situations like us of like how much do we not say and how much do we do say and how hard that is
Mm-hmm.
and for them to
Mm-hmm.
navigate that and it not too long from now your kids friends will have their own social media and will be able to go
Oh,
in
yeah.
and see
Uh-huh.
what people are saying to you and how
Yep.
difficult that is and I just it's such a hard thing and it's so like gosh I just can't imagine a person. I want to hold a little bit of space, and we're not gonna. We don't. You and I can do this later, but we don't have to get too political. But like, there's a difference between like a frustration of writing an email to a lawmaker who is working in a space against you and against as
Yeah.
your constituent, and speaking that way. First of all, I think the most important thing to do there, though, again, is professional energy and language. Even though you want to tell them to fuck all the way off, sit on several mini tacks, but there's a fear you individually don't have any ability to influence their lives insofar as enacting justice or legislation or taxation upon them.
Mm-hmm.
But heaven forbid your words get into the ear of their little lady.
Uh-huh.
And instead of again taking that moment to say, like, wow, I'm really upset about this.
Yeah.
What is making me so angry? Oh, I am benefiting from the little wifey
Yeah.
energy of it
Yep.
all. Da da
Mm-hmm.
da. It's just such a fascinating thing. So I do encourage everybody, like, write your postcards to your elected officials. Please do
Yes.
it in a way that isn't just like middle fingers and fuck you, because that way is counterproductive. But your people on social media, that's not the same thing
No.
at all.
Like we're still people. Like I'm still a person. You
But again,
see,
too, your energy is not to tell men to fuck off. Your energy is to support
no.
women. And again, we're being very heterosexual in this conversation.
Yes.
Whoever, whatever role you're falling into, and what we are describing as the man and the woman and the stay-at-home mom, there are stay-at-home dads, and so on.
Yes.
Um, your goal is support and help and love, not to tear anybody down. And that again is something I think that so many people miss a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
Yes, they definitely do. They definitely do. But such
Absolutely.
is life. I can't change the way I'm perceived or the way I'm understood and
I
I
I
can't die trying either.
I wrote it down a while ago and I've forgotten. I listened to Las Culturistas with Bo and Yang and Matt Rogers almost entirely religiously. And one time Matt had said something and Bowen was just like, you can't control that. That's not for you to control. I wrote it down. Now I gotta remember what it was. I'll
Mhm.
put it in the show notes of what it actually was, but it was so beautiful and it's very
Yeah.
clear. And they've said it a couple of times throughout episodes. Whatever it is, it's almost like a mantra for them, whether or not they've intentionally said, like, this is our mantra, but of
Yeah.
like being in these public facing spaces and knowing that people are just going to be shitheads sometimes. Like Matt said something and Bowen was just like, that's not up to you. I think that's what it was. That's not up to you. That's not up to you. And then Matt has said it to Bowen, that's not up to you. Like,
Yeah.
that's not up to me.
Hmm.
Like, I'm putting out things that I think are going to benefit you and make you feel better, or think about the way that you might be able to interact in other people's spaces in a
Hmm.
different way. And
Yep.
however you choose to deal with that, that's not up to me.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah. I hate it, but there was like when I was like big into, and I like cringe when I say this, but I was big into Rachel Hollis like a long time ago. And I don't even think this was actually her words, but I don't know where they originated from. But it was other people's opinions of me is none of my business.
Yes.
I
I've
think
heard
it's a
that one.
similar sentiment. Yeah.
Yes, I've definitely heard
Which I
that
have to
one.
remind myself of a lot because I don't like not knowing how I'm perceived.
Yeah, I think if it's not somebody that has an impact on your space and your own energy,
Yeah.
especially someone who's going to tell you to kill yourself.
Yeah. No, I don't care about that at all.
Literally, that's an obvious, that's more black and white one. That's a more an easier one. But some of them are harder because they're not as obvious as like go fuck yourself and die. Some of them are
Hmm.
like, well, this hurts my feelings and da da da. It's like, oh, I want to hold some space for your feelings, and then it devolves from there, and then it's like, oh, never
Hmm.
mind, no,
Okay, never
none of
mind.
my
I don't
business.
want to hold space for your feelings. You can go
That's
away
not
now.
that's not up to me. That's not up to me. If you choose
I
to,
like that.
yeah,
That's not up to
not up
me.
to me. Okay, well, I'd love for you. I'll put it in the show notes if you can share. Tell everybody, please, where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Abby Eckel and TikTok at Abby Eckel and on Facebook, the Abby Eckel, and then abbyeckle.com.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for the time. I have been not in a, not you don't give off any sort of like, don't talk to me energy, but I've always been like, oh gosh, I want to have her on my show so bad. And then I finally think I commented on something of yours and you responded and I was
I was like,
like,
what do you mean? Like,
I
please
don't
ask
know.
me.
I don't know. I want to be, okay, actually, sorry, I'm gonna let you go, I promise. Interestingly enough, I had somebody, Postpartum Support International asked me to, um, host a live podcast episode at when it was in Kansas City. And I was so excited. And the person, blessed, not going to mention any names, was like, oh my gosh, it's like so excited. I'm so happy to meet. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the time. Da, da, da. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like literally not famous. It was like, I felt like she was talking to George Clooney. Like, I am not George
Oh,
Clooney. Like, please. So I don't really have that energy, but there are some time. I don't know. I think the timing is that we just needed to be talking right on this very same day. And I just was like,
yeah.
but yeah, it worked out. And then you responded, and I was like, I've been meaning to ask you. And you were like, please, yes,
Yeah,
great.
please
So
ask
I
me.
thank you so much for your yes, because as much as I do believe in the power of change, and I do believe that sometimes we need to articulate our boundaries or our requests, and maybe
Absolutely.
people don't know what they don't know, and
Hmm.
invisible labor is invisible, and sometimes people didn't grow up with parents who articulated that. So there
Hmm.
is space for us out there to express that.
Yes.
Once you've exhausted several many of those things, that's where our friend Abby comes in. So thank you for your message and the work that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's my pleasure. So thank you again, everybody, for if you've made it this far, if I haven't pissed you off enough for you to say, fuck
Bye.
this, by this point, thank you for staying with us to the end, and we'll see you next time on the Perinatal Podcast. As always, be curious, not judgmental.